So this is my mini review of the Caddx Polar Nano camera. It's a new 14mm size camera from Caddx, designed to work with the DJI FPV system. Now I've uploaded this video in 4K at 100 megabits per second, so double check your quality settings to make sure that YouTube isn't mangling this footage too much. I think that the Caddx Polar Nano is a big step up from the Caddx Nebula Nano, which was the only real option for nano-sized cameras on the DJI FPV system before. I think that the level of detail is really exceptional, and its ability to handle the difference between bright areas and dark areas in this really challenging visual environment. I picked this flight footage specifically because flying through a forest in bright sunlight creates a very, very difficult environment for a camera. You've got lots of very bright areas and then also lots of very dark areas, and the camera has to try and resolve that in some way. I think it's doing a really good job. There's loads of detail in the image, there's loads of fidelity, and the color reproduction I think is really, really good as well. I like how it looks. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a big step up from the Caddx Nebula Nano, which has always been described as being better than analog, but not really quite up to the same standard as some of the other DJI cameras. And I think the Caddx Polar Nano really starts to close that gap. It does use quite a small lens, and I think that does show up in little bits of lens flare like you saw there. But obviously that does also keep the weight and size of the camera down as well. The camera is significantly smaller than the Nebula Nano and weighs only 2 grams or so. So it's around half the weight. So this ends up being really attractive, I think, for small lightweight builds like this 2-inch Cinewoop that I'm flying now from Flywoo. I've got a full review of this Cinewoop on my channel, and I'll put a link to that down in the video description. But if you're looking to use this with, for example, a naked vista on a toothpick style build, then I think this is a really compelling option. Of course, like the Caddx Polar, it's a 60 frames per second camera and 16:9 aspect ratio, and it's locked in high quality mode. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of this flight footage, and let me know down in the comments what you think of the camera and whether you'll be considering it to replace maybe the Nebula Nano or maybe some nano analog cameras in your builds. Happy flying, everyone.